Wizards Postgame Live.
I don't know about you Wizards fans, but coming in tonight, I just felt something was working right for the Wizards, and that thing that was working was Kristaps Porzingis. 30 points, 13 boards, 3 for 6 from behind the arc, 9 for 11 from the charity stripe, and oh, by the way, he gave you 4 blocks on top of that. That's the way you close out a year. Another double-double for the Unicorn. That's the 12th on the season that leads the team. Welcome to Postgame Live. Wes Hall here with the coach, Jimmy Patsos. Before I even ask the coach about what he thought about the game, let me just tell you a couple of things. All 5 Wizards scorers in double figures. This is 4-0, a win streak. This is the 4-0 for Gafford and Porzingis together on the court. I'm not done.
Are we getting a bonus?
I'm just here to help. Rui Hachimura, he gave you 16 off the bench. Then he gives you 13. Coach, I'm feeling good about tonight. I like this is the way we close this year. Now, put a button on 2022 for us and give us your thoughts about this game.
Oh, I just love what the bench is doing. Now, Gafford was an important part of the bench, but moving to the starting lineup has just given them a different dynamic. By the way, Kuz can play the 3, no problem.
Yes, sir.
He's proven that, which means he can play the 2 if we want to go really big. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Gafford's been fantastic. Rui's coming. You know, I really think Rui Hachimura was like, enough's enough. I'm watching from the bench. We go on this road trip. We've lost the first 3. I'm coming back. They beat the Suns. Okay? They play hard against the Jazz. They come back. He plays really well against the Jazz, but they don't win. They beat the Kings, and Rui's great. Okay, now he comes back, they beat the Sixers, and then the 30-point game speaks for itself. But tonight, the energy, the smiles, you can tell Rui is falling into a situation where he really enjoys coming off the bench. That's not for everyone. That's why Chris Miller was right when he said he's looking like a 6th Man of the Year award, because you have to embrace that role. You want to be in that role. You want to win, which he's helping him win, but he's putting up points. So Gafford's move over. Rui, Kispert's fine because he can go either way. But I'm going to have to give my 5-star belt to DeLon Wright again for just accepting that role of playing defense with experience and being the tough guy off the bench. What does this make? An overall team win. We just need to slide Real Deal Beal back in soon.
I tell you, when you know you're getting good results, when the team shoots 56% from the field, 43% from behind the arc, and knocks down 80% of their free throws. Again, all.
Can we go to the free throw thing quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
They're making free throws, and they're taking a lot of them.
Yes, I don't mind that. 20 for 25. That's what we've been asking for. You're going to get them. You got to make them. Coach, you know what we should do tonight? Let's ask people something a little bit for the future. You mind if we look towards the future? Biggest impact for the Washington Wizards in 2023. You can go to NBCSportsWashington.com/vote and make your voice heard. Is it the big 3?
Which is huge.
Is it the bench?
They're playing great.
Or is it the old adage, the best ability is availability?
I like that. That's a Doc Rivers thing. Availability and health, because this team has proven when they're healthy, look what they're doing. Hey, against good teams,
yes,
beating them.
That's what it's all about. So we got Coach in there. Let's go ahead and bring in Chris and Drew and get their thoughts on the night. And as a matter of fact, you guys can answer the poll as well. But Drew, coming to you first, how did you make out for the Wizards closing out 2022?
Tell you what, they finished on a strong note, a positive note. And I always talk about that, having some type of momentum, whether you're going out on the road, getting a couple home games, whether you need to close out in the 4th quarter, gaining that momentum leading up to the 2023 year, I like it. I would say I could work with this, CM. I like what I saw the tail end of December. During this schedule, it's been a tough road, a tough month of December going out west, taking your lumps, your bruises, licking your wounds, and coming out ready to play. But I like what I've seen as of late, especially when you talk about the big man lineup with Porzingis and Daniel Gafford. They were awesome tonight, combining for 41 points, 21 rebounds, and 8. Get those things up out of here. Going in a 4, 8. They combined for 8 of the 10 blocks. And then 4-0. That should tell you right there, being 4-0 with that lineup. Good things to come for 2023 with that lineup.
I'm encouraged by a good team, and the reason why I say they're a good team is because they took care of business tonight. They were supposed to do that. Now, I know Wes Unseld Jr. is going to go in there and go, guys, we turned the ball over 26 times tonight.
Yeah.
Got to clean that up. But I just love the balance. Drew talked about the big lineup. Look, they should have had this big lineup a long time ago, but I'm glad they have it now. And it's funny, Porzingis was doing a radio interview with Glenn and Dave, and when he was done, he was talking to Drew and I about that lineup, and he's like, look, if I'm shooting a three and we miss it, there's somebody down there that can get the rebound. Or if you want to run some high-low action, again, start making other teams look at the Washington Wizards and go, how in the world do we deploy a lineup against that? 10 blocks as a team, 8 by those two, really speaks volumes. Now, as we go into 2023, I want to see them carry this momentum into Milwaukee. You split with Milwaukee, I call that a successful trip up there. Now, you got to be greedy. If you can take 2 of them, now all of a sudden the winning streak goes to 6, and now you know what happens when you start winning 6 or more games. Everybody starts talking about you.
Well, you know what I'm talking about right now, guys? 2 things. First of all, the understudies that you have behind you who are studying the notes.
That's security.
Who is that? I know who they are.
That's little Drew. This little Drew's my son right here, and this is my nephew, little Reese. Wave to the cameras. Let me get out your way.
Oh, our future Maryland
There you go. There you go.
That's what's up, man. Got to show love to the family. Now, to the basketball question I was going to ask you about is that third quarter. 42 points in the third. That's the highest they've had in the quarter this season. What is it about the way that they responded to only being up 9 that gives you confidence about 2023, Drew?
Hey, well, listen, tonight, if you could turn the ball over 26 times and still win by 20, you know what type of team you were playing against. It was no time to press the panic button against the Magic throughout the course of the game. Now, and that between the first and the second quarter, Wes, I got a little scared when I saw it 24-27, and the Magic kind of took a lead there. I was like, oh, what are we doing tonight? Getting this team some type of momentum, some type of confidence, having 5 to 7 guys out of the lineup tonight due to suspension. But you know what? Beggars cannot be choosy, and I'm the beggar because I want them to win as bad as they probably want to win. So I'm not going to sit here and nitpick at this, what they could have did better or what they could have did, you know, what they need to work on. I think this was just a game they were supposed to win. They didn't take the bait. They handled their business, and now they're ready to look forward to 2023.
Coach P, you know what it's like when you go up against a team that's depleted or they've had a losing streak, and they're dangerous, right? All they need to see is the ball go in a couple times, and I thought the Wizards had the appropriate focus tonight on the road to get a win in a game where they were supposed to win.
See, I'm big on that. When you're supposed to win, whether it's college, high school, pro, when you're supposed to win. And it's nice you saw Markel, folks. For those of you who don't know, Miller and him go way back to that DeMatha days. I like that folks came right up to
I didn't mention that during the game.
See,
he's on their team now,
because you're
Coach.
a good person, but I will. But and he always plays well to just handle business. But I got to get you on this, Drew. Gafford being an old school center in a league that doesn't really draw up a lot of old school centers, but he's embracing that role, Drew. Like, what are you seeing up close from Gafford? And do you think that's important that he's like, I'm cool doing the dirty work. I don't got to shoot threes. Like, you know, in the olden days, you didn't really do that. But today, he doesn't appear to be distracted by that.
Well, one thing with Daniel Gafford and me as a player I have to work on and be as consistent as possible is what am I going to bring every night no matter what happens, whether my shot is falling or not. And that's energy and emotion. And Daniel Gafford is doing just that. Now, he's walking into the building with being one of the top athletes in our league, but can he mix those vitals with the want-to and the energy on a consistent night in, night out basis? And when he does that, great things can formulate, especially when you play that big lineup with him and KP. Now, it's going to take, you know, this is a process. He is a young player in this league growing into his role. He's played multiple roles. He's been a starter in this league. He's come off the bench, and there's been some nights where he hasn't played. So I think he's finally accepting, hey, when I have the opportunity, I'm going to make the best of it, but it's going to start with his energy.
You notice when he got hit in his throat, guys. Somebody woke up the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
He didn't even take a shot before that. Got hit in the throat, and you want me to tell him what he said to us?
Go ahead.
He came over during a timeout after he had a couple of those dunks, and he looked at both of us and he goes, I got more of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that. You know, you take some
too.
adversity and you take it out on the opposition.
First half, Daniel Gafford had 0 points. He had 0 assists, 0 steals. Into the game with 11 points, 8 boards, and 4 blocks. I think the man got activated. Safe to say.
Hey, Wes, you said he should get hit in the throat more often?
Judo chop.
He got game.
You already know.
Always think about it, he got game. Denzel Washington.
Gentlemen, I'm glad that we can end this year on smiles and laughs because that's what it's all about, being able to enjoy your team winning. Chris and Drew, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
And you guys are doing a great job as a pair. The surprise of the NBA, Miller and Gooden.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Happy New Year to all you guys,
Thanks,
and everybody in the crew. Nothing but blessings and prosperous to you and your family in 2023.
Indeed, gentlemen. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the other side of Milwaukee.
You got it.
Coach, let's talk about Kristaps Porzingis a lot, because you and I were sitting here at halftime. And right before we went into halftime, we listened to his walk-off interview with Megan McPhee.
I'm really liking how he addresses.
That's the question I'm actually about to ask.
Guy tells the truth, but not in a negative way. What did he say?
He said we should have been up against them by more than that. And the reason I'm asking you this question is, how valuable or invaluable is it to have someone on your team with that much candor and honesty?
Look, it helps when it's one of your better players. Now, he is having a fantastic. I know we bring this up, we beat it like a dead horse, but me and you were here the night of the trade, and we said if he can stay on the floor. And now, I don't even want to talk about it because he's been on the floor so much.
Yes.
He's on the floor 95% of the time. He's going to put the numbers up. But he's also earning the right to be like, I'm not mad, but I'm critical. We got to play better. We should have been up more. We got to be a little more precise. We got to be a little more tougher. And what happened was they came right out of the locker room and took right off, and the Magic went the other way. I credit him for that.
I do, and I really think that type of honesty it's motivating, it's inspiring, and the honesty is a bit of a reprieve of sorts. Looking at his 12th double-double of the season, again, 30 points for the Unicorn tonight, 9 for 13 from the field, 50% from 3, 13 boards, and like Gafford, 4 blocks tonight.
But all of a sudden, you're racking up the blocks between those two, and like you said, Kuz is a big guard.
Yes. Who do you, man, look, don't even get me started on pick your poison with those 3 right there. I absolutely love it. But I want to remind people right now, we're looking at 2023 and the biggest impact for the Wizards. What will it be? Is it the big 3 with Kuz, KP, and Brad? Is it the bench scoring guys? You got Rui coming off the bench.
I want Beal back. I want health.
I do as well. And, of course, don't forget health. That's most important. And I think Bradley Beal falls in both of those categories because we want him back in the court as well. But while you're voting, we're going to go to head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium right now.
You know, at times you watch the flow of the game, and you know you feel like the possessions aren't what they really should be. Then you look down, and we had 33 assists on 42 field goals. So you know we got more ball movement as the game went on. I thought there were some really good stretches. There were some poor stretches. We turned the ball over quite often, and thankfully it didn't burn us too bad. 26 turnovers for 21 points. Obviously, it's very high, but it could have been dramatically worse.
When you saw those possessions, you were saying it's not quite what I wanted. What was going wrong during that?
There's just little things. I thought, at times we started playing crowds, over dribble, instead of just making the quick, easy pass. We, held on into it, maybe a count too long, and it wasn't. I don't think turnovers we were forced into. A lot of them I thought were just spacing turnovers or unforced on our behalf.
What did you think of how Kristaps played tonight?
I thought he was great. Both him and Gaff, 4 blocks, between both of them, 10 blocks, as a team. I thought that their rim protection was great. And we're asking him to cross match, guard a small. It's a little different feel, but he does a pretty good job. I mean, we've done it, a couple times before, versus the Lakers and some other teams, but trying to figure that out to give us the best matchups for that pairing.
You played 8 players up until you started to empty the bench. Did you consider going 9, 10 deep during the competitive portion of the game?
Yeah, I did. Actually, about 9. And then I liked the group that was out there. And just kind of missed that window. And, I think it's just tough for, be out there for 2 or 3 minute stretch and then, not really get a rhythm, get a flow. It's tough to perform that way.
Then he spent a lot of time on Banchero, especially in the first half, and then he spent some time on Wagner, I think, if I remember correctly. How did you feel like he played on both ends?
For the most part, he was good. I mean, I honestly thought some of the fouls were a bit generous. But, both those guys are downhill players. They're aggressive. They, they eat up a lot of space, want to get to the paint, get to the free throw line. So it's a good test for him. I think he's going to guard those type of players, who have positional size, who are versatile in their own right. He's going to have to figure it out.
Coach, you finished this year with 4 wins in a row. How do you rank 2022 for the Washington Wizards?
It was thus far, it's been up and down. Obviously after a 10-game losing streak, it's good to see us on the other side of that. Finally starting to get healthy, turn the corner in that light. So, it's promising to see where we could could go. I like where we are. We're playing with a lot of confidence. I think it's important for our guys to continue to play the right way and be able to sustain success.
Coach Unseld said he likes where we are, and I do too. 4 wins in a row will do that to you, and that's what it's all about. Joined by Megan McPeak right now courtside. Megan, I just want to get your thoughts on the game tonight and anything you saw. Go right ahead.
Yeah, when you look at that first half, Wes and Coach, I think that everything Coach said was completely true, and what Chris and Drew also had to say was also true. And then you heard Wes talking about those turnovers, and it wasn't that the turnovers were being forced by Orlando. I think it was just spacing by the Wizards wasn't where it needed to be. Timing was off, because you saw a couple of those turnovers. Guys, after the reaction, was more like, oh, like my fault, my bad. Like, you could tell that timing was just a little bit off. And then that third quarter was outstanding. That was probably some of the best basketball we've seen from this team as a whole this season, with the exception of obviously not having Bradley Beal and Taj Gibson because of the injuries. But that third quarter, for me, you can see that they start taking better care of the basketball. They also do a better job of moving without the basketball in that third quarter, which is why they had 42 points. So I look at that, and then obviously talking about the defense in that second half, it was much better than it was in the first half. You look at the way that they defended well. They were trying to limit Banchero and Wagner getting downhill and trying to limit them in the paint. And they did a phenomenal job in the second half as well, too, on Bol, because in that first half, he really did get what he wanted. Some of his shots just didn't fall in that first half. So a lot of the confidence that this Magic team had in that first half going into the locker room, you could tell in the second half, especially that third quarter, that the Wizards just realized, as we heard from KP, like, they're inexperienced. We have too much talent on this team right now to be in a close game with them. And they completely dominated in the second half and did what we expected them to do from start to finish. But they improved on what they were doing in the first half and got it done in the second half to come away with this win.
As when you were talking to Kuz, he said that they needed energy and they played inspired basketball in the second half, but that was the end of 2022. Let's look at 2023 right now. What do you think is the biggest impact for this team? Is it going to be the big three, the bench, or the health of this team that's going to have the biggest impact for the Wizards next year?
You know, Wes and Coach Patsos, I think each one of those has to do with each other, because you need Bradley Beal to be healthy for the big three to do what the big three does when they are healthy and on the floor. So there's health. That impacts the big three, because no Brad, there is no big three. So that's where the big three comes into play. So you get the health, you get the big three. And then with that, you then also get the bench, because then you get the health back with Taj Gibson, who's dealing with that groin soreness. And then you have the full complements of your arsenal and your roster, as we saw for that split second during that 2-game homestand. So you look at all three of them, I think they all correlate with each other. So you can't just pick one, because one has to do with the other, which has to do with the other, but it all starts with health, because without healthy bodies, you cannot have the bench that you need, and you cannot have the big three that you need in order for the wheels to grease and for this thing to move the way it has when we've seen it.
What's the old adage? Health makes wealth. You see right now, 72% of the votes going for health on that, Megan. Before we get out of here, I want to wish you a very happy and safe New Year's, Megan. We appreciate you. Good job in 2022. The bar is still the bar. We expect the same thing in 2023. So have a safe journey, and we'll see you in Milwaukee, my friend.
Hey, as Chris and Drew said to you both and everybody in the studio back home that makes us be able to do this job, thank you for everything so far, and Happy New Year.
Indeed,
Happy
indeed.
New Year.
Well, Wizards fans, guess what? If you didn't already know, we got to win again. And this time, this is the way you want to end a year. We've had some tumultuous moments, but now we're back in the sunshine, basking in the light. What can we do in 2023? That's what Jimmy Patsos is here for. We're going to get into it. Film Room coming up on the other side of PostGame Live. Welcome back to Wizards PostGame Live. Coming into the night down in Orlando, Denny Avdia arriving on site, rocking a Pele jersey, of course, celebrating the life of the legend, Brazilian football legend of Pele. You got to show him a ton of respect. So shout out to Denny, and of course, shout out to Pele. Man, like, sorry, I'm almost going to talk soccer right now, because like
he was my favorite. Born in '66. It was the early '70s, and you heard people yelling about Pele when he went to New York Cosmos.
Yeah,
we'd never heard of a soccer player before.
Yeah, but we heard of Pele.
You knew what Pele was, and then here came soccer, and now here it is.
Man, shout out to Denny for doing that. Coach, let's talk bench points tonight. Wizards did their job on the bench, 32-23. But I want to look at some of the people on here. Obviously, Rui, we talked about him being an impact player. Denny as well had 13 tonight. But the Wizards are 7-1 with DeLon Wright available this season. Like, I think we got that.
That's the stat that matters to the people that have been coaches before.
Yeah.
We're 7-1. We don't care about that. But he started to make his three. We saw him make his left-handed layup against LeBron, against the Lakers. Like, he's coming around doing different things. In other words, here he comes making a left-handed floater, you know, when he stole the ball. Here he comes making the three off the catch. We know he can defend. We know he has experience. We know he's tall and long. But a credit to Tommy Shepard, he's the perfect complement. Monty Morris, a little smaller, never turns the ball over and can score. You got a guy who's long, can defend. If he starts adding to this, you're talking 2023. But he's 7-1.
Yes.
I mean, that's a real stat.
But I'm curious about the
It's a big body of work.
Well, I'm curious about the dynamic of a backup point guard. Like, how do you stay locked in? Is it kind of like a backup?
He seems to be cool with it. Like,
that's what I'm coming with. I'm like, he doesn't seem to. He's like, I'm cool with that. I can deal with that. Like, how awesome is it as a coach to know Morris is fine, Wright's fine, and we got
the reason I'd say L.A. kid to West, because West is from L.A. originally. This is a big-time hoop area. He had to fight his way onto Utah. He wasn't one of those Modern Day or Crenshaw or UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, like Drew Gooden. No, I'm just kidding. Or Jacques Vaughn, these people. He kind of had to slide his way and beg his way on and say, can I get up to Utah? Spencer did when he did the same thing in Colorado, because there are so many players in L.A. like they're here in the DMV. But he wasn't given anything. Nope. But he's like, I'm cool. I'll make my own way. And then he comes off the bench. I just want to win. I've got a job to do. I like my teammates. He fits in really well. You see the energy on the team when he's around. Me, shocker, I'm an energy guy. But he's bringing good energy, and they're winning, and the players are not dumb. They know this. We got a better chance to win when he's around. And Monte Morris knows that. That's what's most impressive to me, how mature Monte Morris has been.
I just love that you got Monte Morris connected to Kuz. Kuz is connected to DeLon. It's all
a little under the radar guys that grinded, not blue chippers. They had to fight their way. All three of those guys.
They go hard every night, and you can see that. But let's talk about another guy.
Did you hear Kuzma say that we talked about we had to play a little harder?
Yeah. Yes, you can't.
That's a great thing to hear.
We came into the night, we said, you can't have a trap game. We know that Orlando was missing some players. Don't overlook them. You have to play with intensity.
And at halftime, they
made
harder.
the adjustment. That's what it's all about. But I wanted to go to Denny real quick. 13 points, 7 boards, 6 assists on the night, 2 for 5 from deep. Coach, I love that Denny has figured out, hey, finish at the rim, go ahead and dunk on somebody. Don't be afraid to do so. If you've got to step back and pull up in mid-range, do that there. But he stays locked in and engaged, Coach.
Look, he's feisty and tough. John Thompson III, who does a lot of stuff for the Wizards, he's got a million different jobs. But he's not just a community guy. He knows the game. He got Georgetown to the Final Four and was a great player at Princeton himself. He's the one. JT3 told me when Denny figures this all out, and we just watched the highlights, it's defense, it's scoring, he can pass, he's tough, he'll dunk on you, he can hit a three. It's starting to come together. It's when the recipe all comes together. And that wasn't from me. That was from John Thompson III. Said, you wait, Jimmy. Just give him a little time, because, you know, he said the media, you guys aren't always so patient. He's correct. But he said the coach and you should watch him when this all comes together. And it really has for Denny. And he's a really young guy with great size. And he appears to be happy coming off the bench.
He's had 10 straight games of a three-point made. And I'm loving the energy that he brings off.
Stretching the D.
I'm telling people, everybody finds their place. It all works out, and that's why we're on a 4-game win streak to close out this year. Coach, you mind hanging around a little bit longer?
I'm here
I know you ain't going to know. We're going to be here till the clock strikes 0 tomorrow night. No, we're not. No, trust me. We're only going to be here a little bit longer. But we got KP in the locker room coming up on the other side, and you don't want to move for that. Wizards after a dub coming up with PostGame Live. Oh, looky here. Bold predictions. I should have been the champion last year, but that's okay. I will not lament. I will look forward to 2023 where I can redeem myself, and that includes you at home joining in when we do our bold predictions. So if you see a tweet or any post, respond, and yours could end up being selected, and you might get it right, because tonight's bold prediction brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Remember, go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Had you made the choice, you might have been better than my crew tonight, because they said Kuzma's going to have a 20-point double-double tonight. He gave you 23, 5 boards, and 6 assists, so that would be incorrect. So again, good game. I'm happy for him. But I wanted to get that bold prediction right. So please, when you see us asking you to submit your bold predictions, fire back. And I want yours to be on the show, and we will celebrate you. But right now, Kristaps Porzingis is in the postgame locker room, and I shall not keep you or him waiting any longer.
We just have our players back. A little bit, I think. Yeah, I think we're kind of, our mindset is better. You know, we're winning games that we're supposed to win, and I don't know. It just goes like that. You know, we had a tough schedule. I keep saying that. We had a tough schedule in December. And now it's getting a little bit easier. You know, this kind of team, especially with all their guys they're missing and stuff. So we're supposed to win this game. So we're just doing what we're supposed to, and what we're getting paid for.
You guys have always said that you're not really the type of team that can kind of has a big margin of error, that can go out and make mistakes and still win games. That's kind of exactly what you did tonight. How nice does it feel? How comforting does it feel to say, like, oh, maybe we're starting to get there, or no?
Against a team like this, maybe yes. But even still, like, we're supposed to like be up 30, for example, with 7 minutes left, and then guys who don't get as many minutes could get in right away. We were kind of doing some random stuff out there a little bit, and you know, the game was like 20, 18, 20, 24, around that range, and so coach wasn't as comfortable putting the players in or making some subs earlier. So I could still good job, of course. We won the game, we did what we were supposed to do, but I could still find things that we could get better at.
You had a cross match onto some smalls tonight, correct? What's that like for you when you're facing a much smaller guy who maybe straight ahead speed is much better than you are? Or maybe not.
When I'm on defense, or
yeah, when
I'm on defense, yeah. No, I like it. I like being on a non-shooter. That way, I can help my teammates the most, and that's why I was at the rim as much as I could, and contesting shots for my teammates. And yeah, just being as much of a help as I can. So I enjoy, guarding non-shooter. Let's not be disrespectful. Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis in the post-game locker room after a win. Hey, let's take a look at our FanDuel best bets from earlier tonight. Making every moment more. If you would come in tonight and looked at an alternate spread for this game and said the Wizards were going to have an 18.5-point spread cover at plus 490, a $10 bet would have won you $49. Monte Morris having over 8.5 assists is at plus 132. A $10 bet would have won you $13.20. Coach, when I look at 2 of the 3 of the big 3 that we have available for us tonight, because Brad out with that hamstring, combined for 53 points and 18 boards, that's Kuz and KP. By the way, before I even say what I'm going to say, don't forget Monte Morris. We talked about the assist. He had 12 points and 10 assists. A sneaky
and never has any turnovers in a game when they had 1 million turnovers. He's taking care of the ball.
Yeah.
Can I say this about Porzingis?
Go ahead.
And Kuz?
Yeah.
Thank you for your very mature and tough approach to the game from day one this year. They call it like they see it. They say when we got to play harder. They produce on the court, but their mental approach, and you can see physically how hard they're playing, and they want to win. And even when we were down a few guys, and that includes Rui, who really hurt, and Beal, when the Wizards lost, they were by like a couple points because those 2 guys are not only producing on the court, their mental approach to me is very, very good, and it's really going to serve this team well in the long run.
I love the fact that even as Porzingis was talking about defending other teams, you heard him slip in there. No disrespect. Like, that's the respect of a professional to say, hey, I can assess your game, but I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to do that. So I just that little bit of maturity, that wrinkle, that lets me know the guy's on the right track. But I want to remind everybody right now, new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. So you can download the FanDuel app today and start making every moment more. Well, speaking of moments, how about let's have a moment on the other side of this break, Coach? Because I tease people about the film room. Since you're here, we're closing out 2022 with 2 film rooms. 1 from tonight, and 1 is a best of 2022. Coach, let's make it happen. Post-game live back in a moment on NBC Sports Washington. Hey, Wizards fans, I know you're feeling good today, but what about tomorrow? Because the day after the Wizards score 115 or more points, you can get 50% off regular menu price pizzas at papajohns.com using the code WIZ50. I know a couple of my friends have hit me up a couple of days because we're on a 4-game winning streak. So tomorrow you will be able to enjoy. But right now I got Coach Patos taking us in the film room, taking a look at the Unicorn and his performance tonight. 30 points and 13 boards.
Look, for you young coaches or young players, if you want to learn how to play the game, right here, Porzingis is going to show you a few things. See, he's not committing too early. He jumps and then blocks it. He doesn't try to swat it out of there, with number 6. That's what Bill Russell did. But he meets the guy in the air without fouling and then even blocks it. Here, he's watching what the defender does. the defender tries to sneak under, right? Tries to sneak under, and Kispert does a good job rolling into him. You just fade that, shoot it off the catch. And by the way, if you run that back, and we won't tonight, his feet were set when he caught the ball. Feet set, follow through. Now the defender's chasing him like a caboose. He's trying to chase him from behind, but he just curls it and dunks it because he's too quick. And by the way, you're not going to catch that because he's so long. That's one catch and dunk. Porzingis is showing you why, and I talked about his Sevilla days. That's a really great farm system team that produces in Spain. You know, he's from Latvia, the Lithuania area, all these great players, but he went to Spain. He really knows the game.
I love his high IQ basketball, Coach. That's what it's all about. But while we're here, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody that on behalf of our great crew and staff here at NBC Sports Washington, we want to wish you and yours a very happy and safe new year in 2023. But with that in mind, Coach, how about the best of in 2022 in the film room? Can you do it for me?
Kuzma's just been great all year. He's competed all year. He plays both ends of the court all year. He's always ready to play all year, and you can see physically how hard he goes. He's stripping the best player. Today, Durant's probably the MVP right now with the turnaround the Nets have had. Well, he just stripped him and took a coast-to-coast and dunked him. And no talking trash. You can if you want, but he just plays hard and goes and does his job. That's saved by Porzingis right there from behind the back. Now, he's going to run back in once again. Watch, for those people that think you can shoot threes easy. There's a formula. It's called catching it on bounce.
Yeah.
His feet are already set. Now he's going to follow through. It helps in your 7-4. But he saved that ball going out of bounds. But that's the most important thing right there. That's a happy player. That's a happy, excited player. He is so thrilled to be here in D.C. He's so thrilled to be healthy. And as he just said before, he's happy to be winning.
I love that he's happy. And that's the thing about, what do they say, winning cures all? Because, you know, we were down in that 0-10 skid for a while. You know, people were kind of like, oh. But the maturity to stay focused and say, we're going to play our ways back out of this.
No, and then you don't forget about the loss. Beal, he's always been a great two-point scorer, and he has 4 defenders on him. But he just, you know, lays it up, and you need Beal because he can get you so many easy buckets. This is Gafford, both ends, against the Lakers. This is Gafford down there, tipping it from LeBron. Now, and this is where Corey Kispert gets better. That's on AD. This might be the dunk of the year.
Teasing right there. Like, that right there, I still don't understand the physics alone. Like, the dexterity of his hands to be able to hold on to that ball. The ball's going one way, his hand's going the other one.
And by the way, is that when he sort of started this turnaround?
Yeah.
See what happens, a play like that on AD, playing both ends. You show him the tape, Gafford's a smart guy, and all of a sudden, now he's 4-0 as a starter. His energy's better. It's nice when it's against the Lakers.
So let's have a little fun here. Let's look forward to 2023, next game, a couple days from now. Let's start with the top of it. What are the priorities for this team in 2023? We've already asked people what the biggest key for the Wizards are, whether it's the big three, the bench, or the team health. Overwhelmingly, 73% of the votes are for the health. But I want to dive in a little bit deeper into that. Let's look at the other two things. Let's talk about the key to success with the big three. What do they have to do first?
No, they have to keep figuring out who has the best mismatch. And I think one of the things Porzingis said was, I'm cool with Gafford. If they're going to come out with me, then I'll just throw it down inside to him. And Gafford can do the dirty work.
Yeah.
I can slide over, Kuz can slide up. But to play the 5 all the time, it's too much work on Porzingis, and it takes away his effectiveness. So now when you mix Beal back in, Sacramento was the game I liked the best. Real deal, Beal was all fired up. He was moving great. Now he's got a hamstring thing.
Yeah.
One thing that concerns me with that is those can be what we call nagging injuries.
They are nags.
And there's so many games in the NBA. How do you get him healthy? Like, in other words, should you let Beal sit out? Well, I'm not a doctor, but should you let Beal really heal? Because you know you need him for the February, March, and playoff run in April. By the way, we're in 10th place right now in the play-in today.
Moving up like the Jeffersons.
But I'm not, I don't coach anymore, and I don't know what Unseld, Tommy Shepard, or the doctor want to do, but you need Beal healthy because he's such a good 2-point scorer. And Porzingis and Kuzma, they're your 3-point shooters. Yeah. And now Beal, the other night, had a couple. He started out 3 for 3. In other words, it's all coming together. But you need Beal back in there. But I want him to get healthy. Being greedy, if you can win without him, it's going to be hard against the Bucks. But I want to see him healthy because I want him for the long run.
I love that he was questionable tonight. That it is a game-time decision as he
was warming up. That's the good news.
Yeah,
he's
that's
trying.
So now let's slide to the next option available, the bench. What do they, as a collective, have to do to help this team in 2023?
I want to see Kispert keep getting better. You know, Kispert was really good, and then he hurt his ankle. He was like the most improved. This is according to Tommy Shepard and, Ryan Richmond, those guys I know, the coaches. Taj Gibson, he's just old school and ready.
Old and ready.
What do you call it? You don't have to worry about him. No. He's just a happy guy that wants to help you win. We talked about Denny improving. But Kispert off the bench, you know, yeah, everyone thought he was a Danny Ainge type player. Danny Ainge was just a catch and shoot guy for the great Celtics team. Kispert's actually a little more scrappier. He's learning to take the ball. But this might be your key, because when you got a guy that can get you 30 off the bench, and I've been, you know, critical. I come in and I'm saying, hey, we got a guy out. Who's going to come off the bench and give us 30 tonight? We're not really built that way as a team, the Wizards. But now you are with Rui. In other words, if Rui can be that Vinnie Johnson type, I'm showing my age, but there was a guy that they called the microwave. He would come off and get you a lot of points. Yeah, we can play defense and block shots and do all those nice coaching things off the bench, but I like a guy to give me 20.
I like a nickname.
Oh, he gave me 25? Well, you're going in first off the bench.
I like the nickname, the microwave. I'm a fan of nicknames.
But if Rui is that instant offense guy, and he's established that he likes the role and he seems cool with it, then that's great. So the bench is right there. It's all coming, but we're just going to keep pressing that DeLon Wright button. I just think he's the key, because he mixes so well with Monty Morris. They combine to make this really effective point guard position.
7-1 with DeLon Wright in the lineup. Just saying, the numbers speak for themselves. And I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll for tonight, because this is a pretty good one. Like I said, the options were big three, bench, and health. And we see right now that you have decided that the health is the #1 priority. To Megan McPeak's credit, the health involves everybody on this team. So whether it's the big three or the bench, health is wealth. The best ability is availability. And insert the third cliche thing that I can put there, because that's what we do sometimes on TV. We're coming up on the other side, getting you ready to wrap up 2022 with a smile. Looking forward to 2023. That's the Bucks. We played them in 2 consecutive games. Coach is going to tell you how we get a dub on the other side.
So good, the mood is uplifted, lifted, grooving, moving, not missing beats. I mean, I'm not switching. Me, it's just the way that you listen. 'Cause it makes me feel good, makes me feel alright, make me do what I want to, make me feel it all night. Stand up, look and see what you wanna see. Hands up, I can be what I wanna be. Feel good, VIPs. Makes me feel.
Well, I told you, they made me feel good being on a 4-game win streak. Let's see if we can make it 5, because Pregame Live is going to be here January 1st, 2023. Sunday night, 7:30. Hopefully, Bradley Beal will be available, all right? That's what we want, Bradley Beal available. Coach, let's just go ahead and get down to it. The Bucks. We got to play them on the 1st and the 3rd. How do the Wizards get a win against Giannis?
Great opportunity to catch a team ahead of us. They're in 3rd place. We know Giannis is good, but Bobby Portis and those guys shut him down. Joe Ingles is back. The guy who was from Utah is now at the Bucks. He looks like he could be my uncle. That's him. But he's a great player. But the Bucks are tough. But here's a chance. Let's beat the guy above us.
Yes, and let's send everybody out with a happy and safe new year on behalf of our great crew and staff at NBC Sports Washington. For the Coach Jimmy Patsos, I'm Wes Hall. Enjoy your happy New Year's. We'll see you on January 1st for Wizards Pregame Live. Until then, enjoy.